you guys probably know me pretty decently as a fan of Marvel. I mean, dude, look at the stuff in my room and all the Lego I got. But I'm also a pretty big fan of DC. It's just I don't have many Lego sets from it because Lego decided to stop the theme, which is unfortunate. But I am a fan of DC Comics, and there's quite a few DC movies that I do quite like, which is why I'm also very disappointed with how James Gunn's DC is panning out so far. We've had 3 main DCU releases for this new universe, with Creature Commandos, which was in 2024, and then Superman last summer of 2025, and then Peacemaker Season 2 last October. So far, I gotta say, I'm not impressed with what we got so far. We got Creature Commandos, which is, I guess, okay. I mean, I didn't really finish it because I just never got into the... I was never really interested in the show. I watched 2 of the episodes. It wasn't... I don't know. It just didn't feel like something I had to watch. It wasn't that interesting to me, in my opinion. And then there was Superman, which is a movie that you either gotta really love or really don't like, and I'm smack in the middle. I think it's a very mid movie. Not the biggest fan of it either, but it's not like I don't like it either. I just don't think it was that good of a movie. I think James Gunn was the wrong director for it. I think that they totally squandered a pretty good cast, and that they probably could have done with a lot less characters and a lot less of the James Gunn Marvel humor. And you know, it's a sort of pattern that we're realizing, or that I'm noticing with the DCU now, is that James Gunn can't seem to get out of his own way, which is something very prevalent in what we're going to talk about in this video, which is Peacemaker Season 2. I was actually a pretty big fan of Peacemaker Season 1. I thought it was a great combination of the heartfelt character, which is something James Gunn does very well with his projects. I mean, it shows through most of his work. He hasn't really done anything bad up till this point. He was pretty good with even the Suicide Squad, which is another movie from James Gunn's DC that I do quite like, which is also where Peacemaker happened to have been introduced. It was a good combination of stupid humor, great action. I thought that, I don't know, maybe he would have been perfect for the rest of the DC stuff, because he seems to be doing really well with the characters, but specifically with characters that are a lot less obscure, because once you see him do something with, let's say, Superman, it's not as well thought out. Like I said, James Gunn is he's very set on like a specific way of writing things and certain characters that he likes to work with, and he's not really one for like the big mainstream comic book characters like he is with, let's say, the Guardians of the Galaxy or Peacemaker or the Suicide Squad, which are more, I guess, ragtag group of people, which is where he's more, I guess, comfortable in. And he seems to, you know, take that to the next level with Peacemaker Season 2, but not in a good way. He still follows that general James Gunn formula, but it goes to a point where the story just becomes very uninteresting, and a lot of unnecessary scenes and characters and jokes just go on for too long.
Deal with the parrot.
That's an eagle.
It's a bald eagle. It's the symbol of America. Are you telling me you don't recognize what kind of bird that is?
Okay, you obviously have not read my dossier. I have bird blindness.
And the episodes just drag on and just becomes very uninteresting, even though it's a relatively interesting enough plot. I mean, it delves in with some multiverse stuff again, which is kind of annoying, but you know, it could have been a good way to explain how the DC universe suddenly got rebooted, which they had a pretty good setup with that for Peacemaker Season 2, and they kind of squandered it, in my opinion. They had the whole alternate Earth X thing, which is very cool to see, but they don't even show it anymore in the finale, which completely disregards all of that. It seems like there's a lot of self-indulgence in Peacemaker Season 2, a lot of stuff that they're probably going to set up for the rest of the DCU, but it's not well handled. It's not good. Like, it just makes it seem super messy and very unkempt, when, I mean, someone like James Gunn, I mean, I expected a lot more from his work, because he hasn't really done any bad things until this point. He's a pretty good director and writer, let's be honest here. But, like, I don't know, I was expecting a lot more, and with what we got a good Peacemaker Season 1, but Peacemaker 2 was not a good follow-up. A lot of really useless scenes and characters that just drag on too much. I don't think there was that many scenes or things that were memorable, like, that I thought were funny and that I was really glad was included in the show. Like, sure, there were some funny things, but it's very cheap laughs, you know? It doesn't really add anything to the story. It doesn't add anything to the characters in the story. A lot of it is like you know how I said James Gunn's Superman was basically the ADHD Superman? This is basically more of James Gunn ADHD stuff. Storylines and plot threads and characters were just randomly thrown away right after they were introduced. Like the friggin' cyborg lady, Michael Rooker's Hunter character who has like magic powers or something. The stuff with Eagly, the friggin' Earth X, which comes out of, like, you know, it was well set up and all of that, but then they just throw it away in the finale. They don't even go back to it. No setup for whatever's gonna happen next. and all that. And then you have a bunch of like in the end of the show they introduce checkpoint. Like what the frick? It just comes out of nowhere. Like what? And then the cyborg lady, which I mentioned, and then every other character. The freaking guy from Caleb the Cannibal from Brooklyn Nine-Nine. He's in the show just for like stupid humor, but like he doesn't really add anything to it. Like no heartfelt character moment, doesn't really add anything to the story. If you removed him, it wouldn't really matter. Which could be said with a lot of the characters, even the ones that were from the previous season that are brought back here. They don't really add anything to it, including Vigilante, friggin' James Gunn's wife, the black lady from the Minecraft movie. None of them really add anything to the story. They're just there to be annoying in general, which is, I think, the best way I can describe this season. It's very annoying. It's just, once again, another good example of James Gunn just cannot get out of his way. Like, there were some definitely good moments with Peacemaker Season 2, specifically with Peacemaker's dad and even with Roy from The Office in the Earth X part. I think it was in episode 7 that had some good things, but then once again, James Gunn being James Gunn was ultimately ruined by Vigilante just like coming in for some stupid slapstick humor, whatever. Like it wasn't even funny. It was just annoying at this point. And if this is how the trajectory of James Gunn's DCU is gonna pan out, maybe they gotta find a different guy to do some of these shows, man. Because like it's not looking too good. I don't see how this is gonna set up anything else. I mean, it did end in a cliffhanger, but like it doesn't seem to be setting up anything interesting. It's probably just gonna be more of stupid whatever James Gunn ADHD random stuff that just comes out of nowhere. Like I don't know, it's not a well set up thing. Stuff just comes out of nowhere and some stuff just leaves the storyline. It's not consistent, it's incoherent, and yeah, I don't know, I think maybe James Gunn, like I said, is not the right guy for the job. And yeah, once again, I guess you could say this is another James Gunn misfire. Yeah, let me know what you guys think once again in the comments below. And maybe if you guys disagree and hate this review, go ahead, whatever. Don't forget to destroy the subscribe button and the like button. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.